Dr. Tubul-Lavy explains what makes a virtual experience feel like a real-life experience. What makes the user feel he is experiencing the experience closest to reality? What environmental factors must be produced to give it this feeling? Furthermore, what realistic and imaginary environment do we know to create for the end user today? Intuitiveness and user convenience. Making the content accessible is necessary to create a comfortable technological environment for the user. A user who receives technology and has difficulty operating it will have difficulty connecting to the activity even if its content is valuable. For a first-time user, I suggest a tutorial that means the user's entry ticket into the virtual reality world. In the tutorial I have developed with my team, the user is asked to perform several simple tasks in voice guidance in which he sees the controllers, and on them are marked all the buttons with a detailed explanation about the use. This is equivalent to when it was necessary to explain to the employees what the internet is and how it may help them streamline and produce value in various processes. Interaction with the trainer. One of the most profound problems created in online learning is the feeling of lack of instruction from students, the feeling of non-interactive lecture. Most of the time it takes staring at the screen for an hour and a half in front of the same frame, in some cases screen presentation of a presentation. Many students stated that the physical presence of a facilitator would improve their understanding and level of interest in the content. We, therefore, chose that the trainer will be present in the experience and not outside of it. The facilitator within the experience has an essential role in activating the various activities and answering face-to-face questions in virtual reality. This point is important on two levels, one on the trainer's side, who feels he is as effective as he was before in the classroom. He also feels the fundamental technological change and the way to transfer the knowledge. But this process does not detract from its value and training as expressed by several lecturers. Real-time. While at conferences, lecturers preferred to record the lecture and broadcast it edited afterward. In VR Metaverse, people are given the option to be freer from standing in front of a camera and behave in the same way they were used to standing in front of an audience to lecture and guide. Live performance is an integral part of the interaction and sense of belonging to an active and energetic group that asks questions, works together, and does not feel like watching a playlist of pre-made videos. Real-time is an essential tool for trainees. The pace and dynamics differ between the trainer and the trainees, allowing much more relevant information to be transferred to the group since the trainer can adjust the content concerning the level of interest of the trainees and receive feedback on the level of listening. Neutralizing environmental distractions. One of the major problems nowadays during interviews, social gatherings, and even professional training is concentration. Using a mobile phone, environmental noises, sources of interest from the environment, notifications from IoT, Internet of Things, devices, and more make us turn our attention to external events and make it difficult for us to perform a task. When using a virtual reality HMD, all distractions can be neutralized and thus draw the user's attention solely to the content we want him to see. The user is even imprisoned in a sense. Although he is given many choices in a virtual environment, all are carefully pre-selected by the programmers who built the scene and the story for him. This move is extreme by completely disconnecting the user from the environment. However, as part of the tools available to us in VR media, we have deliberately chosen to eliminate all distractions since we only achieve a high value of learning and concentration in tasks and increase user knowledge. A real tangible environment. To create an effective virtual environment and perform training in that environment, it is appropriate that the virtual environment reflects the real world as much as possible. Much of creating the realistic feel is an architectural duplication of a real environment, a digital twin. There are types of training where the replication element is less critical. If there is no perfect copying of the environment, the training is ineffective, mainly in the security and industrial sectors. Sharing information between participants. There is an importance to the quality of the experience and the level of learning, which is expressed, among other things, in the group support and knowledge sharing between the users. Planning the experience in the form of mini-games in which each game includes teamwork or competitiveness so that at the end of each game, the outcomes are visible to all players and can be discussed. Valuable knowledge gained for the whole team, whether the user scored the most points. Also, the trainer who is part of the experience and other users can support each other during the experience and help acquire knowledge through learning by doing. Bridging language gaps. To maximize the technology potential, we can use digital tools and let the user see and accrue knowledge in the user's mother tongue. The language gap is accessible in a sophisticated way in which each user sees the task in his language. At the same time, he performs the activity with a person who speaks a different language in a multiplayer virtual location with a multilingual space. When the translation system is built into the system, adding different languages and bridging the language gap is easier. At a higher level, it can be done with artificial intelligence, AI, and spoken language, not only written. Personal score to evaluate achievements. A significant gap I found during the literature review is the need for more to evaluate the performance. In addition to the participant's name and digital representation in space, adding a scoreboard where the participant accumulates an automatic score for positive actions he performs in the virtual space. So that at the end of the activity, administrators can objectively evaluate the user's contribution to the group or personal score on the tasks he had to perform. Another significant advantage of the digital environment is that data collection can be performed so that each interaction is logged in a file and analyzed. Meaning that at the end of a session, we can know exactly what the user interacts with, if it is a task or even what he watched, and how much he spoke and quickly can evaluate the performance.